Monday, December 6th, 1943. Dear Kitty, when St. Nicholas Day approached, none of us could help thinking of the prettily decorated basket we had last year, and one, especially, thought it would be very dull to do nothing at all this year. I thought a long time about it until I invented something funny. I consulted Pim, and a week ago we started composing a little poem for each person. On Sunday evening at 7:45, we appeared upstairs with the large laundry basket between us, decorated with little figures and bows of pink and blue carbon copy paper. The basket was covered with a large piece of brown paper on which a letter was pinned. Everyone was rather astonished at the size of the surprise package. I took the letter from the paper and read, "Santa Claus has come once more. Though not quite as he came before, we can't celebrate his day in last year's fine and pleasant way. For then our hopes were high and bright. All the optimists seemed right, none supposing that this year we would welcome Santa here. Still, we'll make his spirit live, and since we've nothing left to give, we've thought of something else to do. Each please look inside his shoe." As each owner took his shoe from the basket, there was a resounding peal of laughter. A little paper package lay in each shoe with the address of the shoe's owner on it. Yours, Anne. Wednesday, December 22nd, 1943. Dear Kitty, a bad attack of flu has prevented me from writing to you until today. It's wretched to be ill here. When I wanted to cough 1, 2, 3, I crawled under the blankets and tried to stifle the noise. Usually, the only result was that the tickle wouldn't go away at all, and milk and honey, sugar or lozenges had to be brought into operation. It makes me dizzy to think of all the cures that were tried on me. Sweating, compresses, wet clothes on my chest, dry clothes on my chest, hot drinks, gargling, throat painting, lying still, cushion for extra warmth, hot water bottles, lemon squashes, and, in addition, the thermometer every 2 hours. Can anyone really get better like this? The worst moment of all was certainly when Mr. Dussel thought he'd play doctor and came and lay on my naked chest with his greasy head in order to listen to the sounds within. Not only did his hair tickle unbearably, but I was embarrassed, in spite of the fact that he once, 30 years ago, studied medicine and has the title of doctor. Why should the fellow come and lie on my heart? He's not my lover after all. For that matter, he wouldn't hear whether it's healthy or unhealthy inside me anyway. His ears need syringing first, as he's becoming alarmingly hard of hearing. But that is enough about illness. I'm as fit as a fiddle again, 1 centimeter taller, 2 pounds heavier, pale, and with a real appetite for learning. There is not much news to tell you. We are all getting on well together for a change. There's no quarreling. We haven't had such peace in the house for at least half a year. Ellie is still parted from us. We received extra oil for Christmas, sweets, and syrup. The chief present is a brooch made out of a 2.5-cent piece and shining beautifully. Anyway, lovely, but indescribable. Mr. Dussel gave Mummy and Mrs. Van Don a lovely cake which he had asked me to bake for him. With all her work, she has to do that as well. I have also something for Meep and Ellie. For at least 2 months I have saved the sugar for my porridge, you see, and with Mr. Cufuus's help I'll have it made into fondants. It is drizzly weather, the stove smells, the food lies heavily on everybody's tummy, causing thunderous noises on all sides. The war at a standstill, morale rotten. Yours, Anne. Friday, December 24th, 1943. Dear Kitty, I have previously written about how much we are affected by atmospheres here, and I think that in my own case this trouble is getting much worse lately. Wimmelhochjoch and UND Zoom towed Betret, a famous line from Goethe, on top of the world, or in the depths of despair, certainly fits here. I am Himmelhochjoch's end. If I only think how lucky we are here compared with other Jewish children, and Zoom towed betrabt comes over me when, as happened today, for example, Mrs. Cufuus comes and tells us about her daughter Coney's hockey club, canoe trips, theatrical performances, and friends. I don't think I'm jealous of Coney, but I couldn't help feeling a great longing to have lots of fun myself for once, and to laugh until my tummy ached. Especially at this time of the year with all the holidays for Christmas and the New Year, and we're stuck here like outcasts. Still, I really ought not to write this, because it seems ungrateful and I've certainly been exaggerating. But still, whatever you think of me, I can't keep everything to myself, so I'll remind you of my opening words. Paper is patient. When someone comes in from outside, with the wind in their clothes and the cold on their faces, then I could bury my head in the blankets to stop myself thinking, when will we be granted the privilege of smelling fresh air? And because I must not bury my head in the blankets, but the reverse, I must keep my head high and be brave, the thoughts will come, not once, but oh, countless times. Believe me, if you have been shut up for a year and a half, it can get too much for you some days. In spite of all justice and thankfulness, you can't crush your feelings. Cycling, dancing, whistling, looking out into the world, feeling young, to know that I'm free, that's what I long for. Still, I mustn't show it, because I sometimes think if all 8 of us began to pity ourselves or went about with discontented faces, where would it lead us? Sometimes ask myself, would anyone, either Jew or non-Jew, understand this about me, that I am simply a young girl badly in need of some rollicking fun? I don't know, and I couldn't talk about it to anyone, because then I know I should cry. Crying can bring such relief. In spite of all my theories, and however much trouble I take, each day I miss having a real mother who understands me. That is why with everything I do and write, I think of the mumsy that I want to be for my children later on. The mumsy who doesn't take everything that is said in general conversation so seriously, but who does take what I say seriously. I have noticed, though I can't explain how, that the word mumsy tells you everything. Do you know what I found? To give me the feeling of calling mummy something which sounds like mumsy, I often call her mum. Then from that comes mums, the incomplete mumsy, as it were, whom I would so love to honor with the extra ie, and yet who does not realize it. It's a good thing, because it would only make her unhappy. That's enough about that. Writing has made my Zoom toad be tripped go off a bit. Yours, Anne. Saturday, December 25th, 1943. Dear Kitty, during these days, now that Christmas is here, I find myself thinking all the time about Pim and what he told me about the love of his youth. Last year I didn't understand the meaning of his words as well as I do now. If he'd only talk about it again, perhaps I would be able to show him that I understand. I believe that Pim talked about it because he who knows the secrets of so many other hearts had to express his own feelings for once, because otherwise Pim never says a word about himself, and I don't think Margot has any idea of all Pim has had to go through. Poor Pim, he can't make me think that he has forgotten everything. He will never forget this. He has become very tolerant. I hope that I shall grow a bit like him, without having to go through all that. Yours, Anne. Monday, December 27th, 1943. Dear Kitty, on Friday evening for the first time in my life I received something for Christmas. Kufuus, Crowler and the girls had prepared a lovely surprise again. Meep has made a lovely Christmas cake, on which was written Peace 1944. Ellie had provided a pound of sweet biscuits of pre-war quality. For Peter, Margot, and me a bottle of yogurt, and a bottle of beer for each of the grown-ups. Everything was so nicely done up, and there were pictures stuck on the different packages. Otherwise, Christmas passed by quickly for us. Yours, Anne. Wednesday, December 29th, 1943. Dear Kitty, I was very unhappy again last evening. Granny and lies came into my mind. Cranny, oh, darling Granny, how little we understood of what she suffered, or how sweet she was. And besides all this, she knew a terrible secret which she carefully kept to herself the whole time. How faithful and good Cranny always was. She would never have let one of us down. Whatever it was, however naughty I had been, Cranny always stuck up for me. Cranny, did you love me or didn't you understand me either? I don't know. No one ever talked about themselves to Granny how lonely Cranny must have been, how lonely in spite of us. A person can be lonely even if he is loved by many people, because he is still not the one and only to anyone. And Lies, is she still alive? What is she doing? Oh, God, protect her and bring her back to us. Lies, I see in you all the time what my lot might have been. I keep seeing myself in your place. Why then should I often be unhappy over what happens here? Shouldn't I always be glad, contented, and happy, except when I think about her and her companions in distress? I am selfish and cowardly. Why do I always dream and think of the most terrible things? My fear makes me want to scream out loud sometimes. Because still, in spite of everything, I have not enough faith in God. He has given me so much which I certainly do not deserve, and I still do so much that is wrong every day. If you think of your fellow creatures, then you only want to cry. You could really cry the whole day long. The only thing to do is to pray that God will perform a miracle and save some of them. And I hope that I am doing that enough. Yours, Anne.